And here I am, like, really trying to push people to the boundaries of vulnerability and authenticity to really share their experience. I think that is the magic of thought leadership, of storytelling, of sharing your subject matter expertise in the context of a story, why you came to that expert opinion through the lens of your experience. And so it is this pendulum and kind of a double-edged sword of pushing the boundaries. But I think, Elizabeth, you hit the nail on the head, being okay with any backlash you may get because it is truly your opinion. You're not doing it for the clicks. You're not doing it, for that viral moment. You're doing it to be authentic.
It's easier said than done. Right. This is why they say social media is toxic. It's not just toxic to the consumer, it's also toxic to the creator, right? Because a lot of times, depending on whether you're a business owner or you're a content creator or whatever, if you're creating content online and you're doing it well, to some extent you're probably being pretty vulnerable on there. You're sharing opinions, maybe some of them might be a little controversial, but the goal is that hopefully you own it. Hopefully you're authentic to it. But that takes a lot of work. I mean, how many people can say that they're 100% like love themselves or confident, can own everything they said? Like, we're all still trying to figure ourselves out. We're all human. So yeah, it's really hard sometimes when that spotlight is shed on something that maybe you're still working on, or maybe you're still evolving and stuff. So like being in the public eye in any capacity is always a little bit dangerous, like, on yourself, and it could be really hard on yourself. So I understand why people try to like stay away from social media, or maybe they just don't want that kind of attention, because naturally if it is kind of unnatural to have that kind of attention. But I think that if you come into social media with the right goals and the right perspective on like, what am I really trying to do here? What am I really trying to accomplish here? And if you can keep that clear and you're confident in what you're doing, whether you're selling a service or you're, sharing a mission, or you're just trying to become a content creator and share your life, know what you're signing up for. But being really confident and secure in who you are is very key, I think, in that too, because it's so much easier said than done.
It is so much easier said than done, but also we have cancel culture now.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Right now, the internet's crazy with so much of that right now. And it's like, some of it's valid, some of it's just kind of sad. You're like, wow, these careers are just getting dragged.
But like, to your point, like the internet will manipulate a story better than a news media outlet can do it. So now the news media outlets are looking pretty good in comparison to how people will.
Well, it's like the Wild Wild West.
It's the Wild Wild West. We were talking about, not me and you, but another person and I were talking about the Blake Lively situation, and it's all about perspective. Like, it's so easy for you to tell me a story and me go, oh my God, I can't believe that happened, and without thinking to myself with my own opinions and going, well, maybe she was trying to keep that pregnancy quiet during that interview and that lady pointed it out. And if you've ever been pregnant, if you've not been pregnant, but if you have been pregnant, you don't like random people touching your belly. You don't, maybe in the beginning, you're not sure. Maybe you suffered a miscarriage before. If you're trying to keep your pregnancy quiet and private and somebody points that out publicly, you turn into Mama Bear. Right. I've done it. I've turned into Mama Bear on some old ladies in Publix who tried to touch my stomach. So just a little perspective.
Publix, where shopping is
a pleasure.
Unless you're pregnant.
and scene. But like, if you look at that, it changes the narrative for that interview really quickly. Like, I've just changed that narrative for so many people listening who hadn't thought about that in seconds. So I'm a perfect example on how fast that happens. If you don't know how to respond, it's bad.
Right. And I think it's true, and I'm torn personally for myself. My own brand, Nicole Mastrangelo's brand, is, I'm of the mindset where I think if I had a strong opinion and I owned it, it really was true. And for the record, I'm pretty open about my opinions, and I believe them to my core. And I kind of like to be on Instagram, or more on LinkedIn, I think, than Instagram, really kind of sharing my thoughts and my journey as I'm building my career, and like the crazy conversations that I'm having, and the things I agree with, the things I don't agree with, and why. And there are times where people will disagree with me in the comments, respectfully though. I've never yet been on the receiving end of disrespect. And I think that's where people just go wild and get rogue. So
could be because it's LinkedIn.
Could be because it's LinkedIn, although I've seen it all on LinkedIn. I got to be honest. I mean, I'm getting hit up for dates in my DMs. I mean, like LinkedIn is like a weird place these days. It never used to be that way, but like
Dating app? I didn't.
no, it's not. But like people are weird. Like I will get all kinds of messages on LinkedIn. But my point is, I welcome the contrasting opinions. I welcome the dialogue. I never feel ruffled if somebody disagrees with me and says, here's why. But if someone came out and was like, you're a stupid bitch or something, like I might go home and be like, am I a stupid bitch? Like, what the hell?
I think that's only natural. It's a natural
Right?
reaction. But being on social media more and more, you just kind of grow thick skin. And
Yeah, and
eventually you kind of like are a little immune to it.
But what's the saying too? It's like when you have haters, you've made it, right? You have made it. And I'm finding personally on my LinkedIn, the more direct I get with my stances of like marketing's dead, like traditional marketing's dead, or like your product needs to be the best product, or like you won't survive in this market because of the impact of social proof, the necessity of social proof in your marketing. Like I'll come out and say some really bold things and I'll get disagreed with, and it's like the more disagreements come in my comments, the more impressions I get, the more people comment, the more my post gets reshared, and I kind of welcome that conversation, respectful conversation. Whether people agree with me or not, I'm here for it. But I will say I have not ever yet reached the point, except one time on Instagram. I'm using my personal Instagram to share the story.
Owned media.
My owned media. I'm using my owned media, thank you, to share the journey of building the Daily Drip. And I remember this probably a year ago. There was a lot happening with the Daily Drip. I was resharing articles, podcast launch, all these things, right? And this guy I went to high school with,
It's always the high school
I didn't
losers,
even remember him.
Why?
Like, to be honest, like,
But
yeah.
that's the biggest flex. The fact that you didn't even remember. Like, who are you?
You know what? And he sends me a DM and he's like, oh my God, all you do is talk about this and like share this. Not everyone wants to hear. Like I can't remember exactly what he said, but it was along the lines of that.
Good point. You don't remember what he said.
Yeah, I truly I don't, but I couldn't remember the exact words, but it was something along the lines of, oh my God, another post like this, or you think like everyone's just waiting to hear this.
Yeah, you think people care what you have to say.
So
Meanwhile, he's in your DMs.
Yeah, exactly, right? And so I thought about it and I was like, what do I say back? So I'm not letting this go on read and not responding. Like I'm not giving him the satisfaction. And I thought about it, and at the end I just said, mute me. Yeah. Mute me. Like what do you want from me? Like this is what I'm here to do. You don't like it? Mute me.
That's a really good point because that is on your owned media. You get to control. Now, we've had clients that people would go on Reddit and they were shopping around for group coaching programs and went on Reddit to ask the dark web for feedback on their experience. Not bad, not a bad move. But people who are on the dark web are different kind of people. And you can't please everybody. And so it happened. And it happened fast. And let me tell you, Reddit algorithm ranks probably the closest to YouTube than anything else.
It's pretty scary.
It's very scary. Once it's on there, it doesn't come off.
Wow.
So all my business owners listening, super important for you to remember, like owned media, sharing your thoughts on owned media, you should. And you can expect people to disagree. But when they go on not owned platforms and they talk, you have to be able to monitor that and you have to be able to respond. And so we crafted a response. Some people were like, what great way to like gaslight her. Like there's just going to be people on there that say things. And also we're going to have clients that don't take what we say, expand upon what we say and do whatever they want anyway. And they end up getting in trouble anyway. So if you hire me, do what I say. I'm saving your life and your business, but you have to be prepared for that, especially if you're making money. Yeah. People want to tear you down if you're making money. Yeah. And they'll do it every single time and they'll go on the dark web and you can't have it removed.
It's funny because this subject has come up a lot recently just with Even in the marketing game, like this idea that like the competition is fierce, everybody's out there doing it, everyone's online, and this idea that like marketing has boiled down to personal branding and social proof and user generated content, right? So it really puts the emphasis right back on the product and the experience so much more than ever before, because you are relying on your consumer to be your marketing vehicle then. You need them to post and talk about how great the experience was, but we're always thinking of social proof in a positive light. We're thinking of it as a referral and a review and